The diary was small, leather-bound, and soaked in the blood of its owner. When a farmer in eastern Poland found it buried beneath the mud, he never imagined it would reveal one of the most terrifying tank battles ever fought, where courage meant facing steel and fire head-on, and survival was nothing short of a miracle. The pages were trembling in the old man's hands. The ink had faded, but the words still carried the smell of smoke, oil, and fear. It was 1943, deep in the heart of the Eastern Front, where frost bit through uniforms and men learned that silence could be louder than any scream. The diary belonged to a German tank commander named Erich Müller, a soldier whose eyes had seen too much and whose heart had grown heavy from the weight of orders he no longer believed in. Across the frozen plains, his enemy was a man just like him, Ivan Petrov, a young Russian tanker who still whispered prayers for his mother before each dawn. The diary told not of glory, but of exhaustion, of men buried under ice and steel. Erich wrote of the smell of burning fuel, the tremor of the earth as Russian T-34 tanks advanced, and the haunting silence before impact, when every soldier knew only one thing: someone would not see another sunrise. He wrote of a morning when the sky turned red before noon. Dozens of tanks rolled toward each other like metal beasts, in a duel that no one could win. Mud splashed, shells screamed, and the snow turned black. Inside his panzer, Erich could feel each heartbeat pounding against his ribs. His radio was silent, his men waited for his word, and for a long moment, he couldn't speak. Across the field, Ivan's T-34 moved through smoke, its treads cutting through frozen corpses of machines and men alike. His comrade, a boy of 19, whispered, "We fight for home." But home was hundreds of miles away, buried under frost and rubble. When the two tanks faced each other, German steel against Russian resolve, the diary said there was no hatred, just understanding. Two men, both trapped in wars they didn't start, both following orders written by hands that never touched the battlefield. The moment came like lightning. Erich aimed first, but hesitated. "He's just a boy," he wrote. The hesitation cost him everything. Ivan's shell struck the panzer square in the front plate. The explosion ripped through the metal, and flames swallowed the cold. But the story did not end there. Days later, Russian soldiers found Erich, burned, barely breathing. Ivan himself ordered his rescue. The diary says Ivan stood beside the stretcher and whispered, "No more killing." That night, Ivan wrote his name inside the diary beside Erich's. Enemies became witnesses to each other's humanity. Months later, when Ivan's unit fell under German fire, Erich, now a prisoner of war, risked his life to drag Ivan from the wreckage of his burning tank. He wrote, "War takes everything, but it cannot take what makes us human." Years after the war ended, both men met each other again, this time as old men, not enemies. They stood at a memorial where tanks rested like rusted bones, and Erich placed the diary at the base of a stone cross. "For those who fought without hate," he said. The diary became a relic of truth, a silent witness to the cost of obedience and the courage of mercy. In the end, it read, "The bravest act is not to kill, but to forgive. Steel breaks, souls endure. The loudest victories are the ones fought in silence." When the farmer handed it to the museum decades later, curators cried as they read its pages, not because of the battles, but because two men had found peace where the world expected hate. And now, as those pages rest behind glass, visitors still pause, lowering their voices, as if the ghosts inside are still listening. War may end, but its echoes remain in diaries, in memories, and in the hearts of those who refuse to surrender their humanity. What would you have done in their place? Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us where you're watching from, and subscribe for more true stories that honor the silent strength of those who lived through the impossible.